Captain Marcus Chen had faced down plasma cannons, survived 3 different alien plagues, and once talked his way out of being sacrificed to a crystalline deity. But standing in the grand reception hall of the Galactic Council's newest space station, watching the swirling mass of alien diplomats, he felt more nervous than he had in years. The human delegation was small, just 12 representatives from Earth's united colonial government. They were the new kids on the block, having only achieved faster-than-light travel 18 months ago. Most species in the council had been traveling between stars for millennia. Marcus adjusted his formal uniform and tried not to stare too obviously at the incredible diversity around him. There were the towering Velkari with their crystalline exoskeletons, the gaseous Nethams floating in their environmental suits, and dozens of other species he couldn't even begin to categorize. That's when he saw her. She stood with a group of what appeared to be her peers, tall, elegant beings with pale blue skin and silver hair that seemed to move independently in the air around their heads. Their eyes were larger than human eyes, a deep violet color that seemed to hold starlight. The species was unknown to him, but there was something about the way she carried herself that commanded attention. She was looking directly at him. Marcus felt his cheeks warm under her gaze. He'd been trained in xenocultural protocols. Knew that staring could be considered aggressive or inappropriate among many species. He started to look away, but then something extraordinary happened. The alien woman turned to her companions, said something in a melodic language that sounded like wind chimes in a gentle breeze, and then pointed directly at Marcus. Even from across the vast hall, he could see her companions' reactions: surprise, delight, and what looked suspiciously like approval. Ambassador Sarah Rodriguez, Earth's chief diplomat, appeared at Marcus's shoulder. "See something interesting, Captain?" "I think that woman just claimed me as her husband," Marcus said, unable to keep the bewilderment out of his voice. Sarah followed his gaze and raised an eyebrow. "Those are Sirathi, highly advanced, very peaceful, known for their precognitive abilities." She paused. "And their accuracy in matters of the heart." Before Marcus could ask what that meant, the group of Sirathi began making their way across the hall. The woman who had pointed at him led the procession, her violet eyes never leaving his face. As they drew closer, Marcus could see that she was smiling, an expression so universally warm and genuine that it transcended species barriers. "Greetings," she said when they reached him, her voice carrying that same wind chime quality as her native language. Her command of Standard Galactic was flawless. "I am Lyralay of the Fifth Harmony, and you are Marcus Chen of Earth." It wasn't a question. Yes. How did you—" "We see the threads that connect all things," Lyralay said simply. "The past, the present, the possible futures. They all weave together in patterns that those trained in the deep sight can read." She gestured to her companions. "When I saw you enter this hall, I saw our thread. It stretches from this moment far into what will be." One of her companions, an older Sirathi with silver streaks in his flowing hair, stepped forward. "Forgive Lyralay's directness. Among our people, when the deep sight reveals a soul bond, it is exciting news. She has been searching for her matched thread for 3 centuries. 3 centuries? Marcus's voice came out as a squeak. "I am young by our standards," Lyralay said, and her smile widened. "And you, Marcus Chen, are precisely the right age for a human. The threads align perfectly." Ambassador Rodriguez cleared her throat diplomatically. "Perhaps we should discuss this privately? I'm sure Captain Chen has many questions about Sirathi customs and—" "Oh, I don't expect him to accept immediately," Lyralay said, waving a graceful hand. "Your species believes in what you call courtship. Yes? A period of getting to know one another before making commitments. The threads show me that this process will be quite enjoyable for both of us." Marcus found his voice again. You can really see the future. Possible futures, Lyreley corrected. The threads show probabilities, not certainties, but some connections burn so brightly that they illuminate all the paths around them. She stepped closer, and Marcus caught a scent like ozone and starlight. Would you like to know what I see when I look at you? Despite every diplomatic protocol screaming in his head, Marcus nodded. I see a human who left his world not for glory or conquest, but because he was curious about what lay beyond the stars. I see someone who once shared his emergency rations with a wounded Catherian soldier, not knowing that Catherians consider such an act to be the highest form of honor. I see a man who will, in approximately 6 months, save my home world from a plague that even our healers cannot cure, because human medicine approaches problems differently than ours. Marcus felt his jaw drop. How could you possibly know about the Catherian thing? That was classified. The threads remember everything, Lyreley said gently, and they show me that you are exactly the kind of person who would share his last meal with a stranger, regardless of species. This is why our souls are matched, Marcus Chen, not because of prophecy or destiny, but because of who you choose to be. Around them, the reception continued, but Marcus felt as though they were alone in a bubble of possibility. Lyreley's companions had melted back into the crowd, giving them space, while Ambassador Rodriguez stood nearby with an expression that suggested she was furiously calculating the diplomatic implications. So, Marcus said finally, what happens now? Lyreley's smile became radiant. Now, you ask me to dance. It's a human custom, yes? And later, you tell me about your world while I tell you about mine. We discover that despite being born on different planets, we both love the way starlight looks on water. We laugh at each other's jokes, even when the humor doesn't quite translate. And slowly, over time, you realize that what the threads showed me was not fate. It was simply the future that becomes inevitable when two people choose to see the best in each other. Marcus looked into those violet eyes that held starlight, and saw not an alien, but someone who understood him in a way that felt both impossible and completely natural. He extended his hand in the formal human greeting. In that case, Lyreley of the Fifth Harmony, would you do me the honor of this dance? She took his hand, her fingers warm and surprisingly familiar in his. I thought you'd never ask, husband. And as they moved toward the dance floor, Marcus Chen realized that sometimes the most extraordinary journey begins not with a grand adventure among the stars, but with a single step toward someone who believes you're exactly who you're meant to be.